men jag vågar inte.
I wasn't anything else before being a filmmaker. I started with it quite directly already when I was a teenager. But for me, it was really the possibility to kind of retransmit with the camera the view that I have on my surroundings. I'm a very observative person, and but in my discussions with my friend in high school, I realized that we see different things when we move around in town, or we see different patterns in the world. And so the camera for me was a perfect way, because you create images, so you can control exactly what you want people to look at. And for me, it was just the most perfect way to make people see the same things that I see. That's really like the core interest. So it's the deep interest in the camera, and also the potential in the moving image that it's, for me, it's the most powerful medium where you can have many people being totally deeply concentrated in looking at something that like how you see the world, and then you just show them.
When Max and me met, we instantly saw the common interest in broadening the perspective of not talking about films, but talking about the moving image. And our references, I must say, is more from like YouTube and watching what goes on when it comes to the moving image than it is to look at other films. We are not like film nerds. We don't watch a lot of movies like cinema. Only if there is a cinema that wants to push the border for what cinema should be, or the expectations of cinema.
And we also have the same interest in, and that was the core interest in the movie that we have here in competition called Hopptornet, is that we wanted to create an image that would have a dilemma that would be so interesting in itself that we wouldn't need a classical story frame for the film to work.
Right.
And another interest was that we wanted to capture very precise images of human beings when they hesitate, when they have to take a decision that is hard for them to take. We're more interested in describing people rather than telling stories about them.
And then I mean that it was also important to show all the technology, to show all these microphones and the rigs, and that it must be part of the frame, is that everybody knows that this is a setup.
Yeah.
It's a staged situation. So I mean, it's like working very much when we do the fiction films with Ruben Östlund, and when we do other fiction films, it's the same kind of, you set the scene and you set the arrangement.
Right.
And I mean, the people that are up there are paid. They're casted in a way where they got like two limitations. One is you have to want to climb up on the 10-meter platform. You can never have jumped, and you must let us film you while you make your decision. And so all these parts are in the same frame as a fiction film, but what happens up there we have no control over. So during the shooting we were of course extremely interested in all the details that could come from the
the decision making.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you still be doing films or those studies, like you call them, even if no one was watching them? How do you measure your level of success here, or a certain amount of achievement? You know, would you still be putting the same effort into it if you knew, well, there's only 2 or 3 people interested in, but I do have the passion for
This is an interesting question.
putting the setup, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's a problem that many people have, that you express yourself creatively, for example, with films, but don't have the time or don't want to think about who your audience will be in the end, and also how your film, for example, will reach its audience. This is something that we think about all the time. That is a driving force also in the film industry somehow. It can be a great force to say, okay, this film we wanted to have its premiere in a big festival, or this film needs to be shown on TV. This is something that will create energy in the way we work, and also help us to take certain decisions, because you have to be able to relate to the forum where you will show your film. So if you wanted to show it in a festival, you have to maybe not play by the rules, but somehow you have to relate to them. You can't make a half-hour film where you just film a tree. I mean, it won't work.
Sometimes it does.
Yeah, sometimes it
Especially
does.
At the Berlinale,
of course,
but
yes. But also, a second point is that we look or we believe that moving image is. I mean, it's one of the. It is the most powerful medium nowadays, in the sense that it is the one that affects humans the most by far, and we have really
even
left
more than music, you think?
No, but for example,
in a
you can
more
say-
in a very more in a very more pragmatical sense, because we believe that we humans, we are like imitating beings. So what we will see either in real life or in images, we will imitate in the end. So films or what you see on TV or on YouTube, if you produce images, you have a great responsibility towards what you show and how you show it, because images become every day a bigger reference point for us humans, and that is why, or we believe that film is such a great medium to help build a more equal society, or you know, like, we want to create images like where people can get meaningful references from them. So for example, in 10 Meter Tower, we get to together look at how human beings look like when they hesitate.
Yeah, but and I think also, like, we left the text-based society that where text would be the highest influence of how we act and reacted towards each other for some years ago. I mean, now it is the images that will affect us the most. There's research saying that more than half of our memories in the Western society are created by mediated events that we have not experienced ourselves. So of course, if that's the case, that half of our memory bank consists of what we have seen in mediated form, of course this is a very powerful tool of how we will act towards each other, and how our point of view of the world will be. So the film's scene has always the commercial side, and then the other side that wants to use this as another tool for something. And the tension this creates, in my opinion, it becomes a very good tension, because you have to relate to the audience. It's built in within the film tradition to relate to the audience. So as Max said, we always take in the audience and the scene where we want to put the film, but it's not always that we aim for the prestigious festival. So if you have that perspective of art, it broadens the field to something that can be a tool for all people. Not only the little group that would call themselves filmmakers or artists. And this is a point of view where then it becomes, I mean, that's why moving image is so much more interesting to talk about, because it exists. It's like 3 seconds away,
right?
And it's 10 seconds away from distributing. And this, I mean, the point we are now is really a turning point. It's almost like when Gutenberg invented the printing machine, you know, that made it possible for people to distribute books, the texts. And of course, will always be some parts of society that will want to control this.
Right.
They say, no, it's not for everyone. It's for this group. It's for this. You know, our energy comes from embracing this technology and this to make the hierarchies in another way. So that's why we can't just aim for prestigious festivals or doing this within the hierarchy of this movie industry system. That becomes...
We are talking all the time when we watch films. We get bored easily nowadays with what you would call, I guess, regular films that have maybe beautifully written dialogue, but there's a certain, there's this disconnect almost. Maybe because we're used to this immediate
we didn't exactly know
reaction we
how
have
to read it also.
Yeah. And so we very much enjoy films like yours where maybe people don't talk at all. It's just very, you know exactly what's happening and you're getting a lot from it, instead of being told a certain story,
Like it's activating you in a way, right? It's like in its form, it's telling you, okay, get up from your seat and
you got to be
active, and make what you want out of this film. There is not one way to read it, like start talking to your neighbor. I mean, in a way, I just thought about this, like, in a way you could compare how film, like the conventions of film today, a little bit like to like flying. Like, I don't know, but like hundreds of years ago, or maybe it was 150 years ago when they invented, it was like, it was the human being's dream to like be able to fly. And then when we finally could fly, it was like, wow, and today it's like dreadful to take a plane. It's like, oh my God, I mean, we're so, and we're like in this little seat and we're drinking the Coke,
the
and it's like,
working.
the Wi-Fi isn't working and you're sleeping, and it's like, it's horrible. I hate flying.
Right.
But whenever I see a video on YouTube of somebody flying with like a jumpsuit and has like a GoPro camera, I'm like, wow, okay, this is what it's about. And in a way, this is what we want to recreate with images as well, is to remind people of there's so much potential in this, but we need to be able to break off from the conventions of film. Not only when we make films, but also when we watch films. We need to watch them with a critical gaze. Because it's not only the producers of films that need to take responsibility, it's also how we consume images. We need to be able to be critical to the images that we see. I almost want to say that we are fed with, but I mean, you can't look in any direction and you will see an image. Yes. So you have to be able to keep calm in the society that is completely image dominated.
But I think, but I mean, we looked up. We had like to almost all projects. We have like the YouTube references. This bank, and with Hopptornet, we had this little girl in somewhere in US that is in a ski. She's in a
like
what do you call it? So, where you jump with a ski jump.
Oh yeah, like a ski park.
Yeah.
And she's about
like a steep slope.
Okay.
She's about to step up one level. So you understand that, okay, this is higher than she ever have been.
Right. And she has a GoPro.
And you can hear her voice talking to her father or her teacher or whatever. And just hearing her voice and seeing this helmet cam, and then to be part of her doing this and coming down and the relief that happens afterwards. It was just like, yes, this is precisely this kind of emotion. This is what we want to catch.
Yeah.
And this clip on YouTube, this has nothing to do with the movie industry. But it has to do with the camera. So I think it was Bresson that said a very good thing. He said, when did cinema start? He got this question. And he said, well, it started with the first sold ticket. Yeah. It didn't start with the camera.
Right.
And this, I think, is a good distinction, that either you're very interested in what the possibilities of what the camera can do, or you're interested very much in the field of cinema. And the field of cinema, I agree with you that the field of cinema tend to move towards what we already know. The story, storylines and dramaturgy, and you can watch, about where it is in the film. Well, it's before point of no return, but it's still in, and this becomes like lessening the possibilities for how to use this tool. And these questions interest us a lot.
Professionally speaking, I mean, what's your goal? Ultimately, where do you see yourself in that? I mean, do you see yourself? You said you don't see yourself as a classical filmmaker or director, but you're using this medium now beautifully and taking part in this shift. Where do you see yourself, or where do you see this thing taking you, maybe?
Well, for us, I think that the ideas we have for the films we want to make and the energy that we gather always comes from our observation and analysis of the images that exist around us, and what we want to change in them, and what the dominant image is will change from year to year. But I think we find a great energy in wanting to disrupt how people or how society thinks of a specific field. So, for example, 2 years ago, we made a film inside the Swedish Parliament as a reaction to how formatted we thought TV was reporting about politics, like in a very almost like if they were reporting about like a football match. It has to be it's happening now and it's very intensive. So we went to the Parliament just to show that no, politics is very long. It's about it can be boring. It's about administrative things, but that's how it should be. And that experience was great for us, because when we showed these images at like festivals or on TV, we really felt that people were very interested in these kind of images and almost like missing them. It's like, and again we go back to this, that our goal is to activate the audience. It's almost that we want that like people after 1 or 2 minutes like start talking to their neighbor and like, what's this? What's happening? Because that's the great thing about the cinema in some way, is that we are watching at images together at the same time, but there should be room for discussion. And the problem if you go to like commercial cinemas or is you have almost this feeling that the film is just an excuse to sell something else, like popcorn or a parking lot. And when the film is over, they open the doors and then you go out on the streets and But we want the discussion to take place in the cinema, and so we think that it should take place almost as the film is going on. So
I think also I can only agree what Max is saying, that the aim for 10 years, I mean, when it comes to personal, I would like my kids to have a good, I don't know, but when it comes to the career or what kind of films we do, that will depend on how the area develops. I mean, I think right now it's very interesting. If you take like Swedish government advertisement for the Swedish fighter plane, it's called JAS, a fighter plane. This aesthetics of this advertisements paid by our tax money would have exactly the same aesthetics as the ISIS videos, recruiting videos for having young men coming to Syria.
It's like very flashy,
and the slow-mo effects, and there is no difference. There is no, and I mean, as long as our society are very surprised by all these young men going to Syria, and don't make the connection that, well, of course they're appealed by this aesthetics. Of course they're appealed by the rhetorics of suppressed. Is it called suppressed people in a, you know, you have to react. You have to, because this is what we have seen all our lives. The oppressed, it's called, oppressed person that wants to revenge the system, and with a certain aesthetics and a certain hero saga.
Right.
So all of these things. I mean, the energy from what images that we want to produce comes from. It's a reflection of what it looks like, and I mean, the 10-meter tower is one film that has certain goals for, like, we want to make a film that could have only this frame, and we could be in this frame for many minutes, for one person or two persons, and say that this can be a way of looking at the moving image in a way that is both entertaining and teaches something about us as humans, and that these feelings are global. There's no matter what sex or color of the skin or whatever. That would be one thing, and another film that we have right now, that came out right now, is shown on Swedish television. It's a totally another form. It's like a backstage film of a Italian film shooting. That where we want to attack the stereotypes and the cliches that are created within the movie industry. Okay. These are two totally different films, totally different target group. Yeah, but it's part of the same point of view of what images that needs to be created.
Mm-hmm. When we went to school and we were like in literature class and reading like books or like poems, I always felt that before we even read the poem, the teacher was already telling us that what the poem means was something else that was like between the lines, or that was like subtextual. And it was always like that. And in films, especially in like art house films, also I would say, like the ones that you could see in competition in big festivals, it's like, it can be like an extremely like violent films with a lot of stereotypes, but you have to understand that this is a metaphor for something that tries to be subversive and against violence. And I'm quite shocked about this, where I think it's like, we need to make sure that we know first what is it we see, because this will have the biggest impact on us eventually. So before you start thinking about how you're going to edit your material, how you're going to put it together, or what effects you're like, or what idea you have on it, just really be sure about what you're filming and put all your effort and concentration on the moment when you're capturing something.
If they want me to be interested in the images or the films, I would say be very interested in the world around you and how things really are in your perspective, rather than be very interested in how other films have done. That I would say is because I can very easily I can see the difference of where the mind of the sender or the author would be, where it is. I think it's like two different point of views of how to use this art form.